Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today I have my July TBR, and I 100% have more books on this list than I will have a chance to read. I'm in one of those phases, I feel like I'm in these a lot, where I just have too many books that I want to read. There are so many books that I want to read. I'm finding it like I want to taste test every single one, and I want to like hurry through books while at the same time like savoring and you know, absorbing everything from the current book that I'm reading to get to the next, because there are just too many good things that I want to read and not enough time to get to them all. So here are the books that I want to read for July. So once again, I have a mix of fantasy, some sci-fi, some romance, different types, contemporary, historical. So I've got a mix of everything in here. So the first book that I want to try and read is Gideon the Ninth. Now this is a book that I have been hearing about for a very long time. I've heard great things about it. This one I hear is a blend of sci-fi and fantasy, and the main character is basically, she's a necromancer who was raised by nuns, and she's a lesbian, and she kind of seems like she is a little bit fallen off the beaten path, and she is raised from the dead and is going to like work in this army, I guess. I don't really know. I have heard nothing but great things about this one. I mean, I've heard a few less than stellar, but most people seem to really love this, and I am just kind of curious about that. I'm more curious about the hype with this one than I am the overall premise, but I want to give it a go. Okay, so now the next one that I want to read is The Jasmine Throne. This is by Tamsin Muir, and no, this is by Tasha Suri, and I have also heard really great things about this author, but I haven't heard a lot about this specific book. This is the first in a new fantasy series by her, and it is based in sort of like the history and mythology of India, where we have a captive princess, and I believe is it her handmaiden? I'm not entirely sure if it's her handmaiden, but it's sort of that setup where we have a princess and like a servant type of thing who are teaming up. I hear this may be sapphic, and then they are going to try and bring down the prince, right? Trapped by her brother within the crumbling walls of an ancient temple, she dreams of vengeance. Forced to disavow her birthright and her power because of her past, maidservant Priya dreams of freedom. So they have to team up together, and it says they're going to set an empire ablaze. So I think that's going to be really, really great. I'm excited about this one. Okay, so now I didn't do a great job of reading the books on my TBR in June. I read 4 out of 10, which honestly isn't bad for me. Honestly, that's not bad. That's not bad. I have way more than 10 this month, but one of the books that I am for sure going to finish this month that I haven't quite finished yet, but I will, is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, and this is a series that I want to continue with because the 5th book is coming out, I think, in December. So if I do maybe not even one a month, but if I keep on track to read them, there are 4, and they are all huge. Like, The Way of Kings is 1,200 pages, this one is 1,300 pages, then I should be on track to be ready to read that one. And I have really enjoyed The Way of Kings, so I want to continue with that. So this book is, sorry, the light is kind of crazy. The second book is Words of Radiance, and this is high fantasy, epic fantasy. I have loved this series, and I have read quite a bit of Brandon Sanderson. I've read his YA stuff, I've read some of his other adult stuff, but The Way of Kings truly stands out to me. Like, I really enjoy his books, but that one, I feel like really lives up to the hype. It really does. So I'm very excited about the series. I really, really am loving it, and I can't wait to continue it. Now, the next one that I want to read is Empire of Silence. So this is a sci-fi book that I have been hearing a ton of buzz about on TikTok. And the person who has really sort of sparked my interest in that the most is Elizabeth. She is a TikTok friend, and she recently started a YouTube channel. I don't know if she has any content on or not, but I'm going to tag her down below if that, or I'll link her YouTube channel down below so you can at least go and check her out, because she's just super sweet and she's been raving about this book. It sounds like, again, this is one that I feel like I know just kind of the bare bones of the plots, where we have this man who is regarded by some to be a hero and others as a murderer because he, I guess, destroyed millions and millions of humans, or what other people would call aliens, and now he kind of has to live with that, and I believe there is something else that he is called to do, but I'm not sure what. So I think that that book is going to be wonderful and amazing, and I'm very excited for it, and it's also free if you have Audible Plus, the audio, so excited about that one. Okay, so now for a fantasy romance, I want to read Lord of the Fading Lands by C.L. Wilson. This is a recent recover to this book, and I actually have heard about this book for many, many years. I know C.L. Wilson, I've read her before. The original cover to this book is not great, although I do own that as well. And I saw this cover and I just thought, I really like that cover and I do want to read this book. Ava, I know, really loves this series. And she was telling me that she thinks that I would love it years ago. Again, years ago. I'm really bad at getting to books people tell me to read. But I just picked this up at the store and I really want to read it. It's basically about Fae, and it sounds like there's a Fae king who 1,000 years before lost the love of his life. She died. And now he's sort of like awakened to, because an evil power is coming to try and destroy everything, and he may be falling in love again with somebody. So, like, of course he's going to, right? It's fantasy romance. So I'm very interested in this one. I think it's going to be great. I know this is a very well-loved series. It's like the Terran Soul, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. So I'm excited about it, and I do love the new cover better than the old cover. I do. I love C.L. Wilson's cover for The Winter King, but the Terran Soul, I don't like that cover at all. So I'm excited about this one. This one is only going to be read if I can continue to get it from the library, because I am trying to utilize my library more. This is Kindred by Octavia Butler. I have attempted an Octavia Butler book before. It was Fledgling, which is about a young black girl who is a vampire, and I got into that. I found the writing to be beautiful, atmospheric, haunting, eerie, but it kind of made me a little uncomfortable because she is a young child, and the men around her don't know that she is a vampire, and it's very, like, their thoughts about her are very sexual, and I don't want to read that at all. So, which is a shame, because I think that it could have been really powerful, and I know that was obviously deliberate on Octavia Butler's part, but it was just not for me. So I am excited about this one. I know there is a TV show about it. This is a sci-fi book, and I believe this woman, this black woman, she's the heroine, and she keeps getting pulled back in time. And the first time she gets pulled back, it is to save a drowning white man, and then she'll go back into the future, and then she keeps returning to that time, and every time she goes back, she ends up staying there longer and longer. So I have just heard this is her best work, her most beloved, and I really want to read this author. I feel slightly ashamed that I haven't read her before. I actually didn't even hear of her until like 2 or 3 years ago, so it's high time that I read her for sure. This book is A Tempest of Tea. This is a YA. This has been on my TBR before. I almost didn't put it on here again, but sometimes when I put books on my TBR multiple times, it definitely forces me to read them more. And I am interested in this book. I don't know why I just continue to not pick it up. Probably just other things are calling to me more. But this is basically a fantasy, and it is about vampires and tea. And my friend Lindy on Instagram, she says that she thinks I'm going to love this. So I'm very excited about this. This is one of the last books that I bought from my little trip to the romance bookstore. And once I read this, then I can go back. So I'm excited about that. Here is another library book that I definitely want to try and read. It is A Prince on Paper by Alyssa Cole. I actually believe that I may have this on Kindle. I feel like I bought the whole series when it was on sale some time ago. So this is basically a princess from another country. She is trying to like escape her past. She ends up in bed with this prince, and he doesn't want to be a prince anymore. Romance. It just sounds lovely. I love Alyssa Cole. I think this is going to be fun, and that's what I want, is fun. Okay, now the next one is one that I've been meaning to read for about 10 years now. It's a book that has occupied my brain every summer, being like, you should read that, you should read that. And then there have been times that I'm like, I think it will be too scary, or maybe it will ruin the movie for me, but now I want to read it because I finally bought myself a copy, and it is Jaws. So this is happening this summer, and if this doesn't happen in July, it's probably not going to happen until who knows when, so it has to happen this year. It has to. Okay, so the next book is Tempted by His Kiss. So these next two are books that Jen and I from the Book Refuge are reading for our summer session of the Rake Appreciation Society. We are back in session for the summer, so you have all summer. Well, I guess now you only have July and August. We're not sure when the live show will be. It may be towards the beginning of August, so if you want to read these and chat with us, maybe do so sooner rather than later. But this book is Tempted by His Kiss, and it is basically about our heroine who is orphaned, and she ends up in this, I think it's a duke's house in a snowstorm. I read the description of this and now I can't remember. And he proposes an arranged marriage. to save her. I'm not doing it justice. The description is much better. It sounds great, and I love the cover, and I know Jen has wanted to read this forever, so we're doing it. And then the other book is The Marquis Who Mustn't by Courtney Milan, and I love Courtney Milan. I think she is a beautifully talented writer, and I can't wait for this book. It is about our heroine who wants to be, this one says an ambulatory, or she's taking ambulance classes, but she can't register unless it says the man who's in charge of her gives permission, and she doesn't have a man who's in charge of her, so she ends up meeting the tall, taciturn Chinese nobleman. She claims him as her fiancé, and he goes along with the ruse. So I think this just sounds so cute and good, and I'm very, very, very excited about it, so can't wait. Okay, so now I have a few on Kindle. So one of them is Love Unwritten. This is, I believe, Lauren Asher's new book. I feel like everybody's talking about this right now. I know Jen from the Book Refuge really, really loves this. This is a divorced single dad and the heroine who is his nanny, and she really likes to write love songs, and he sounds like he's had a lot of like breakups and not a lot of luck with love, and it sounds like he's grumpy, she's sunshine, and I've just heard this is great, and it just sounds right up my alley and what I want to read right now, so excited about that one. Another one I want to read is Till All the Seas Run Dry. So this is the second book in the series that Eliza MacArthur did when the first one was Hank, which Soft Flannel Hank was one of my favorite books. I loved that. So I have not picked this up. I don't really know why. I think that I may be a little wary of it, but only maybe because I hyped it up in my own head. But I am really excited to give this a try. It's a contemporary with paranormal vibes, and he is a vampire, she is a Selkie, and there are very few books about Selkies, so I'm excited about this one. And then I also want to read A Duke Makes a Deal by Matilda Madison. So this is her new release. This just came out in June. And this one sounds awesome as well. This is an author that I have read before. I've only read one of her books, but I really, really enjoyed it. And this one is basically so the heroine has this night out and, you know, at like a ball or whatever, and she's very excited about her new life. She's just come into money, but she overhears her fiancé bidding or gambling her wedding, I guess, and her dowry, and he loses to this duke who is he the Deadly Duke? I can't remember what he is called. But anyway, nobody wants to marry this duke, right? And so he accepts her, and he accepts her fortune, and he's like, well, maybe just we enter into this marriage of friendship, but of course it's not going to be just friendship. So I think that's a really fun and unique premise, and I think it sounds great, and I really like this author, and I want to support her. This is on KU, by the way. Okay, and then I have two books here that I would like to read, and they may or may not get read because I have just started a Fable book club, which is all just like, you have to get the app and you join the book club over there, and it's been a lot of fun so far. I haven't had a ton of participation, but I'm new. I just started it in June with our first book of Wicked and the Wallflower, but it was a ton of fun, and I want to keep going over there, so it's just like through texting and message threads where we talk about the book and chapter by chapter, and so I just put up there just today a vote where you guys can vote for the next book that we will read next month. So the two of them that look like they're winning, one is Brazen and the Beast, so the sequel to Wicked and the Wallflower, because I did have some new friends who read Wicked and the Wallflower for the first time, and they loved it, and I think they want to continue with this. The other book that is winning, and I think may win, is Again the Magic by Lisa Kleypas. So both of these books are rereads for me. Actually, all the books that I picked this month on Fable are rereads for me. Like, the whole purpose of this book club on Fable is to bring in new people to historical romance to hopefully kind of ignite some passion for it. So I've tried to load it up with some heavy hitters in there. There's a Tessa Dare, there's a Beverly Jenkins, and then there's these two. And these two I think are currently winning. So it's going to be one of these, I think, unless people go in there and change the vote, because it's got like 72 hours. Less than that. It will be a day less than that when this video is up. So if you want to join us in reading and talking about historical romance, go on over there. If you want to join us here for video discussions and historical romance chats, be sure to join me and Jen with the Rake Appreciation Society. And yeah, that is a very ambitious list. There's no way I'm going to read all of those, but I like having options, and I have a lot of options. So also, I may just completely deviate from that, as I am known to do. Anyways, thank you so much, my friends, for being here with me and for watching this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know what you want to read for July, and if you'll be joining me in any of these book clubs. And I'll see y'all in my next video. Oh, if you've made it this far, please feel free to leave me a dolphin emoji, if you can find it, or a whale, or a fish, or a shark for Jaws. And I'll see y'all in my next video.